Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this opportunity GRC has given me to present. All this day, yesterday and today, you must have seen the examples of GRC with different companies, mainly with high-rise building, huge projects, bigger projects, cladding. But what I'm going to present is a different architecture use of GRC. I'm sure you people will like it because this is specific to the Middle East. Middle East started GRC in 80s, and it boomed like anything. And when it comes to specific of the architectural value, which is more of a ornamental, intricate, there are many applications, but I'm going to focus only on the domes, which is very popular, and it's a different usage. I have not seen people, any presentation, this kind of application. So let's start. This is one of the mosque, a landmark project in Oman. As you come out of airport, drive down to the city, you will not miss this. It's sitting on the mountain, and these 3 domes are seen from all over Muscat. And the way it is done, the architects were very clever. It was main concrete, and the GRC was almost a half meter away from the main concrete. So main concrete was cladded with pure gold 23 karat glass mosaic. And in the GRC, there were LED lights. So those lights were throwing onto the gold tiles, and it was reflected. And this is the end result. And everybody has really appreciated this kind of, not very, it is done, this kind of things are done in steel or aluminum or just fret cut or laser cut screens. But this is a 3-dimensional, both side curves, and the pattern is beautiful. So we did this for the main dome. There were 3 domes, and also for the minaret dome. You'll see those pictures. This is another, application, which is, you have seen these applications everywhere. I mean, majority of the column cladding, the soffits, arches, and the roof, the false ceiling. These are pigmented acid wash. So these are the general applications, but again, going back to the specifics now on the dome. Different types of domes. And mosque is a perfect area where the GRC can be used, because the GRC is a so flexible material, and the mosques, they want to have an enriched look, always that's the main element of the mosque. And usually it used to be a glass mosaic or a marble mosaic, and we found a different way of doing it. So these are the 4 different way of the one which we on the left side. This is in Bahrain, and the other ones are in Muscat. So this dome was in Bahrain. Again, the similar way of doing it. It was away from the main dome, and with the LED, it was shown in the night time different. This was a dome which is ribbed, a profiled segments, and in between the segments you have again a glass mosaic, a blue or green color glass mosaic. So these were, and this is a usual glass mosaic, but this we did, there will be another project. We did this glass mosaic on the mold, we kept the glass mosaic on the dome, on the mold, in the GRP mold, and then sprayed over. So you don't need to do it sitting on the dome. So this was very cleverly done, very quick, and you will see there is another big project. These are the advantages of doing this. Is of course the main thing is it eliminates practically the issues with the concrete, because casting a dome in concrete is not that easy. You can get the inside face nice and smooth with the shuttering, but the top surface you can do to certain level double mold, but above it's normally done with the regular manual finishing, because you can't pour the concrete on the surface inclined. So you don't get a finished nice good surface. There are always undulations. So GRC is the solution which covers all the undulations, so you don't have to bother about getting the concrete perfectly. So this is all cladding. This is another dome which is the same way. This is the Grand Mosque of Oman, Sultan Qaboos Grand Mosque, and this dome also is similar, but the patterns are different. That one was, the Al-Amin was a fully floral pattern, whereas this is geometric pattern. So by using the GRC, you can achieve perfect geometry without any issues, because you do the whole thing in the factory. So you don't have to worry about the issues with the tolerances, the quality issues, workmanship. So you get perfect shapes there. Then, of course, lightweight is the USP of GRC. And the major advantage which we are able to sell these ideas to the contractor and the client is the time saving, because by the time the construction is going up, we are ready with the production of the segments in the factory. So as soon as the dome is casted, without, after the curing time and with the regular site issues, we can straightway start, the final finished product. So this is the biggest advantage of using the GRC. Then we have different shapes. This is the internal dome. This is again internal dome, you will see in the next pictures. This is the FIFA stadium in Qatar we did. And there were, domes here. These are a different kind of, these are not exactly dome, they used to call it as a dunes. They housed a lot of services and even the catering services and many other activities under this dome. So that will come to. This is another a dome for the Al-Amin Mosque on the small dome which is on the minaret. We did was, it was pre-assembled at the ground, lifted with the crane, just placed it. So it was quick. The finishes. We have experimented with different finishes, and these domes you will see. We have the first one is a pigmented acid wash, which is a fluted segmental dome. Then the second one is the reverse of what was done on the external dome. This is the internal dome with the fret pattern, open pattern, and on top of this dome there was a skylight, there was a glass. It is a facaded glass. So what happened was the effect here was a reverse of the external illuminated dome. So here from internal you see all this beautiful, because the light was passing through. So this is another different application. Then this number three is a convention center in Oman, which is a petal shape, which is the diameter of that is 103 meter. And they were huge panels. These are the panels. Again, what I said is we experimented with a lot of testing how the tiles will delaminate or will have a differential movement. Yesterday's presentation, they said that 2 materials. So this was glass mosaic. We were afraid that it will come out. But we did a lot of testing and came out with a solution which was again the same, the tile, glass mosaic tile with the mesh, just 300 by 300 tiles, laid on the mold and sprayed over. So initially when we demolded like a normal one-day cycle, it was coming out. So we had to work on that, and we found a solution. If we leave the panel in the mold for 2 days, it was working all right. So ultimately, we tested, even after casting, we tested with the rubber mallet and checked whether it is any, hollow sound is coming or any popping of the tile. But no, there was not a single tile came out. This is project now almost 7-8 years old. And these were the panels. You can see the size of the panels. They looks here tiny, but they were huge panels. And again, this was on a steel structure. And thanks to Charles Ricard here, who was the structural designer for this project also, and come out with a solution. And this is another project in Qatar. Again, Mr. Charles Ricard Engineering. This was the stadium in Qatar. This was also a huge segment. You will see the next slides. Okay, this is what it is, the method of construction for the dome which was illuminated, the first slide. We had the segments prepared, and this was same with the concrete away from the main concrete dome to the GRC, half a meter away. You can see here, and then the LED was placed and it was reflecting. So again, these lot of stages of engineering as every GRC manufacturer goes through, but here it was a little bit of more complicated because the shapes and design itself, the proportions of the design to get it right, because this was at the top of the mosque, so it should be visible. So it should not be too tiny or too big. So we did a lot of, different scales of the carving, and the consultants used to come, see from a distance, and got the perfect, the size of the modules. Here is again carving, and this is the construction method, like making the mold, the segment. So these are the, So these are the patterns, again setting out with using the, total station and segments cutting on a CNC machine, so you get it right. The important thing is to get the side flanges right, right angle. Otherwise, they don't match, because you need a good amount of side flanges to make the segments, stable, strong enough. So the angle is very important of the side flanges. Then this was again that 103 meter diameter convention center. This was a mock-up of 1:5 scale. You can see that with this human, and this is 1:5 scale. It is not a full scale. So this was a mock-up of a petal of 1:5 scale, and there is a steel inside, and on top of that GRC with those blue mosaic. And again, this was inspected by the consultant. We created a scaffolding tower, good height of almost 15-20 meters. So from there they viewed, and it was all confirmed with some modifications as usual. These are the patterns again for the Qatar stadium, the FIFA stadium. Those dunes, you can see the size now. It looks small, but this is the size of the patterns required to be made. And because of the shape of this dune, it's nothing regular like the other domes of the mosque. It's a regular shape. You just do 1/8 or 1/16 of the segment, and that's it, and you can take the 16 cast. Here, because it was a completely free-flowing shape, so practically you have to do a full mold. So what we did was, this was a direct negative mold, and we did the casting on top of that, directly sprayed over. So this was a full mold. And this 1/8, I said 1/5 of the mock-up, this was that. Again, these are the fluted dome pattern making, people sitting over it. Yes, it is. Yeah, we have, after doing so many domes, like we at least, I'm with this company for 32 years, and we have finished 26 mosque domes. So we are now expert in the mosque dome. So our people are used to doing this kind of project. This is another one, another finish. Again, these segments where you had 25 by 25 tiles, glass mosaic, they were with the mesh, and they were plain tiles. Whereas here, you had a bigger tile of, these are Iranian half-baked handmade tiles, and they were with the pattern. So again, the same concept, and we had real issues again, delamination. But there was good thing to that. The size was big, that was the issue. But because those tiles were porous tiles, they were not really fully baked tiles, because they had to cut it on the manually, so it was not fully baked. So the absorption was good. So because of that, the bonding was okay. But the size was a challenge. This is the minaret dome. As I said, this one we installed at the ground and then lifted up, and it was placed as one piece, because on top of the minaret at the height of 75 meters, it was risky to work. So, and the scaffolding also was limited. So we decided to do it that way. And these are the petal roof installation. These were the steel sections, and these are the panels segments. And these segments were of the minaret dome. Yeah, GRC as a product is now really proved in Oman, at least, to be a different way of, and commercially also, I'm sure the price we get for this is different than what you get for the regular cladding, because this needs a lot of expertise. And this is where we come from. We don't take the volume. We specialize rather on a specific expertise. So we are well recognized for this kind of works. So these are the finished project. Now you can see this is the main dome, and these are the minaret dome. And of course, just to mention that, I'm an architect also, and I'm heading the division not only for GRC, I'm also heading the division of the marble and stone cladding. So this mosque, all stone cladding also was done by us. This is a Carrara's material, 75 mm thickness, big size, 1 meter by 600, almost 600 containers of material. Marble we brought. This is Muhammad Al-Amin Mosque. This is a private mosque. Then this is the Sultan Qaboos Mosque in Nizwa. Again, this dome. And of course, here also, all the stone cladding we did. This is the one which I said about the Iranian tiles. This is again Sultan Qaboos Mosque in Sohar. There are different regions, big major mosques. These are all the major. Sultan Qaboos Mosque means they are the big mosques. The Grand Mosque is the biggest one, and then which is in Muscat, and every city has other Sultan Qaboos Mosque. So there was a Nizwa, there is in Sohar. So this is the main dome and the minaret dome. This is the same with the pattern. It saved a lot of time for the main contractor, because imagine doing this kind of tile work, sitting on top of dome and doing it in the factory, in the mold. Just spray it, take the finish and install. So this is a major advantage. This is the convention center. This is what is 103 meter diameter with petal roof and on the steel structure. Of course, these are not a structural slab or something. These are only a decorative element. You have a standing seam roof underneath, and there were penetrations coming through the roof of the steel, and then secondary steel was there on which the GRC were placed. So there is no issue of waterproofing or anything we have to worry about, because it was just draining down, and on the standing seam roof the waterproofing was not our. Again, here we did the stone cladding also and petal roof. This is the FIFA stadium, one of the FIFA stadium, Bin Ali in Qatar. So these are the dune roofs, what I was talking about. These roofs are with the 100 mm diameter Pearlson tiles. These were Spanish tiles with the pearl effect. So they were again the same way we did, was placed on the mold and casted in segments. And they were produced in segments, sent to Qatar. All the production was done in Oman. It was by road. It was transported to Qatar, and installation was done. So these are all 6 domes, 4 at the corner and 2 at the entrances. This is the Grand Mosque. This is the main mosque, the Sultan Qaboos Grand Mosque. Again, the main dome. And again, the stone cladding was done by us. These were all carved stone. So we get a complete turnkey project, external, everything. So it works well. See, again, this is illuminated with the geometrical pattern. And there is a steel frame, obviously, to support, because it is away from the main concrete. That's it.